We are in the final week of our Compassion series. It's appropriate. The final week of the Compassion series happens to coincide with the end of the church year. We'll be celebrating Christ the King Sunday, and then we'll be moving into Advent. What a marvelous time! A time of thanksgiving, a time of preparation, a time to open our hearts to receive Christ once again into our lives and into the world. But this week in the Compassion Challenge, we face the greatest difficulty because we have to provide an act of compassion, an act of healing for someone with whom we have a broken relationship. Now, there are many ways that our relationships are broken today: pride, jealousy, hostility, betrayal, resentment. Oh, the way we break relationships in human community. The list is endless and it's disheartening. But when we think about a broken relationship, what if we thought about it as an opportunity for healing? As I've often said, I love the Gospel of Mark because Mark gives us so many empty spaces. And in those empty spaces, we are called to ask ourselves, how do we live out the message of Jesus Christ today? How do we live out this message of compassion, of healing? And when we look at a broken relationship, we have the perfect opportunity to do that. If we look at the miracles of Jesus, for example, virtually every miracle that Jesus performed was bringing someone back into a relationship with God, back into a relationship with the community. In first century Palestine, if a person was suffering an illness, a disability, they were excluded. They were out of the community. They had broken that bond of community. The same happens in each of our lives. There are relationships in our lives that are broken, but not irretrievably. Because with the idea of God's Spirit, those relationships can be healed. But first, we have to begin to see the world through the other party. We have to begin perhaps to understand why they felt betrayed. We have to begin to see the world through their eyes to understand why they felt hurt, so hurt that they walked away. That's what Jesus did. He did not judge. He did not seek only people with whom he agreed. He ate with sinners. He dined at the home of a tax collector. He dealt with those who were considered ritually unclean in society at the time and culture. But yet he saw within them a certain worldview, a worldview that was an opportunity for healing. So as we enter this week, I'm going to ask you to do three things about this particular challenge. One, we need to still our minds and still our hearts because we spend so much time remembering the hurt that we can't surrender to the healing. And number two, we need to realize that if we show an act of compassion to someone in terms of forgiveness or reconciliation, there may not be a response from the other person. There may not be a response right now. And number three, we need to recognize that when we do that, despite the pain, we are revealing God's love and we're living out the gospel challenge. May God be with each of us as we walk this difficult journey. Amen.